European Spanish or Latin American Spanish, which one is the best, which one should you learn? At the end of the day, it's a very personal question and you should ask yourself, what's your goal? What do you want to do? Where would you like to travel? Now, one thing to know is that whether it's in Spain or countries on the American continent, there are plenty of national or regional accents and dialects. Like Spanish from Argentina is a completely different world. But I decided to go with what I call standard Latin American Spanish with a focus on Mexican. Again, it's a very personal choice and it's related to the fact that I live in Canada and Mexico also being part of North America, the two countries do a lot of business together. Actually, there's so many Mexicans and Latinos here that I don't even need to travel. I can just go outside y empezar a hablar español. De hecho, ni siquiera tengo que intentarlo. La gente hispanohablante viene y me habla en español como si fuera natural. I love it. Anyway, Mexico is also the most populated Spanish-speaking country in the world, and they produce so many movies and TV shows, which is one of my favorite ways to learn languages. Even though, to be honest, I need to take a break from telenovelas from time to time. They also have a lot of bands, but I have to admit I listen more to reggaeton, which is from Puerto Rico, and it's mainly aspirated as everywhere and pronouncing R as an L. ¿Qué quiere hacer, mi amor? For the record, I went to Mexico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, and there are so many other Latin American countries I'd love to visit. But of course, I also went to Spain. I really enjoyed my time there and I'd love to go back. And so when I'm in Europe at my current level, the only thing I do to adapt my accent is to correct the pronunciation of fe y feta and maybe put a little more emphasis on g y j. Though sometimes I do get confused with words ending with ción, como la sensación, but there are words with ción, como una obsesión, that I would pronounce obsesión, even though I know how it's written because it's the title of one of my favorite bachata songs by Aventura. So yeah, all this to say that Latin American Spanish is easier to learn because there are simply less consonants. But again, whether you learn one or the other, you should be able to understand people from the other continent and adapt yourself quite quickly, except for a bunch of words that are different, but it's also what I have to do with English when I go to the UK. What about Portuguese? People in Portugal say they speak the proper one, Brazilians say they're the majority now. Just like I said for Spanish, it all comes down to your personal preferences. I would love to visit both countries, and it's no secret that I'm passionate about accents, so ultimately, I want to study both, but I need to start somewhere, and here again, it's personal. One of my best friends from childhood is actually half Brazilian, married to a Brazilian woman, and they have a lovely multicultural child. But he's not the only one. I have more Brazilian friends than Portuguese ones. Maybe it's just numbers, there are more Brazilians in the world. But the other reason, and it's not gonna sound fair, is the fact that there are more resources to study Brazilian Portuguese. I think the voice in Duolingo is Brazilian, it's the case also for Google Translate, so it'd be great if they could give both options. Otherwise, there's also Forvo, but I see that there are more Brazilian Portuguese entries. Now, I've looked around YouTube and there are a lot of amazing Portuguese teachers, but it's just easier for me and it makes more sense on a personal level to study Brazilian Portuguese. Now, I'm saying all that, but when I compare Romance languages, I do perform in European Spanish and Portuguese, just to keep it simple.
Quisiera ser sincero, não sei que vou hacer. O que me aconteceu, não vou contar. Senão vais me deixar.
So there you have my answer. I hope it helps and that I'm still going to be welcome in Portugal. By the way, is it better for me to speak in English and play the tourist or speak in Portuguese but with a Brazilian accent? If you're Portuguese, let me know in the comment section. Alright, ciao! If you enjoyed this video, please let me know with a thumbs up and don't forget to share and subscribe to support this channel. Nos vemos!